I just brought in case y'all.
Real blessing. Continue to grow. Man, you guys are huge. We did an acquisition 3 weeks ago. So we have 6 locations in Houston. Wow. So I've got 20 locations under my belt. So you know that big location when you're going down 242 on the Woodlands, yes, right by the bridge. That's one. I've had an eye on that one. Wow. The guy that ran it's a good dude. He started that company 25 years ago. Yeah. Grew to 6 locations. I remember that. Yeah. So we got one in Conroe. Picked up one in Conroe, Magnolia, Tomball, Humble, Missouri City, and well, that one right there on 240. Yeah. But they're perfect sites. 25 years. 25 years next week. The other day I was talking to Carl. We passed it. We talked about you. And it seems like it's been over 20 years. 25 years. Yep. I drove for him for 5 or 6 and been in management since well for almost 20 years now. Wow. So yeah. It's been a good ride. Really good ride. Worked with some really good people that have been there as long as I have. So I love that. I love that. Well, they have people stay with them, don't they? Yeah. Yeah. We've got some lifers, which is good. You need it. You need that. That's kind of the way this company is. She's got one man working like and the parts guy up there's been since he was 18. He's almost 40. That's crazy. We got one motor operator that's been with them since they started the company. Wow. So he's been here with us 40 years. He's still running the loader. Doesn't want to do anything else. Not interested in doing anything else. Yeah. He runs that loader every day, day in and day out. Yeah. Says, he knows he's got a job. That's right. Loyalty is hard to find. Good to see you, Tom. Good to see you. Get up a lot today. That's what I'm saying. The answer. There's no assigned seating. We're just creatures of habit. Robert, are you in charge of the seating sign? Sit over here. You can sit here. Yes, sir. It's supposed to be. Yep. It was a good time. So the preacher responded like this. Thanks for that update, Chief.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our monthly meeting. Today is April 21st, 2026. We do have a quorum present tonight. To my right, and that will be your left, if you're watching on YouTube, would be Mr. Julius Buckley. Next to him is Mr. Roscoe Warwick, Mr. Brent McWaters, our City Secretary, Ms. Juanita Lamont, yours truly, and our City Manager, Mr. Lee Tipton, our City Attorney, Mr. Tommy Ramsey, Councilwoman, Ms. Desiree David, and Councilwoman, Ms. Rachel Hall. Tonight, if you would join us in prayer, we're going to have Pastor Thelma Daniels of the Faithful and True Fellowship to lead us in prayer tonight. And we're going to have Mr. Brent McWaters to do our pledges for us tonight.
Lord, I thank you that you continue to bless and keep the city of Cleveland. I lift up our mayor, city council, and members of our local leaders. I ask that you grant them wisdom, integrity, and insight to make plans and decisions that will cause every aspect of our community to become greater. I pray for wisdom and understanding that they may pass no laws or ordinances that would violate the Constitution of the United States or that of the state of Texas. I pray the principles of the Word of God be held in high esteem and set as a guideline of instructions to establish a thriving and blessed metroplex. May the city of Cleveland prosper in the areas of commerce, social systems, and activities. Lord, provide them with a vision for the future and a working plan to meet the needs of our ever-growing population. Lord, your word says you will command a blessing where there is unity. So I thank you that you impart a spirit of unity to each and every city leader, that they may have singleness of purpose and vision and will be flexible and find points of agreement. May each leader govern with compassion and honesty, so our city will be a safe, prosperous, and welcoming community. A place where families will want to raise their children because we have safe and excellent schools. A city where new businesses are welcome and created. A city where the well-being of its residents is considered a top priority. And townships where the houses of worship are deemed necessary and essential for the growth and well-being of citizens. I thank you, Lord, for the commanded blessing over our city and upon our city leaders. And I make these requests tonight in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Face the American flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and the Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I had a presentations. Okay. You can give them to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have several presentations and awards. And okay, the first one, Office of the Mayor, City of Cleveland.
Call Lance Blackwell. Lance Blackwell's going to receive it.
Okay.
Where's Pastor?
Chaplain. Oh, okay. Come on up, Chaplain. Chaplain Blackwell, I tell you all the time how much I appreciate your support, you know, the way you support the city as a whole. That means a lot to me, and it means a lot to our city. You know, before this, you know, I thank you personally, and I tell you that all the time. Okay, so from the office of the mayor, City of Cleveland proclamation. Whereas in 1775, Continental Congress asked the colonies to join in prayer, seeking wisdom as they faced the responsibility and opportunity of building a new nation. 3 decades later, President John Adams declared a day of solemn humiliation, fasting, and prayer, asking citizens of all faith to pray for America, protect from danger, and whereas in 1952, President Harry Truman signed the joint resolution of the U.S. Congress establishing a floating annual National Day of Prayer, and whereas in 1988, President Ronald Reagan set the date of our annual prayer day as the first day of May, and whereas throughout history, Americans have turned to prayer and reflection during times of strength, weakness, and in moments of joy and despair, seeking comfort, giving thanks, asking for guidance and grace, and today continue in tradition of our forefathers by acknowledging the powers of prayer in our lives and cherishing our right to pray freely. And whereas we are asked again this new year to join in prayer, Thursday, May 7th, 2026, for the 75th Annual National Day of Prayer, as our nation comes together. Let us pray for unity, righteousness from this state, nation, and all mankind. Now, therefore, I, Danny Lee, Mayor of the City of Cleveland, Texas, join other cities by proclaiming May 7, 2026 as National Day of Prayer. Glorify God among the nations, seeking him in all generations. And whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the City of Cleveland, Texas to be affixed. Jacqueline Cleveland, Deputy Secretary, Danny Lee, Mayor. And thank you again, Chaplain, and keep praying for us. God bless you. Come on, get up. Get the cord, man. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Dispatchers, y'all want to come up? These are the people that work behind the scenes. You never see them, but if you dial 911, it's a good chance that you'll be talking to one of these people. They are great, very professional. Answer the bell every day. They deal with all types of situations, and they do it with class, professionalism, and I just can't say enough good things, about the job that you all do for us. So, with that being said, whereas emergencies can occur at any time, requiring police, fire, emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, and whereas the city of our police officers and firefighters depend upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone to Cleveland's Police Fire Communications Center, and whereas public safety dispatchers are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety dispatchers are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters, monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, ensuring their safety, and whereas public safety dispatchers of the Cleveland Police Department have contributed substantially to the public safety mission, apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, treatment of patients, and whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of his or her job in the past year. Therefore, it be resolved, I, Danny Lee, Mayor of the City of Cleveland, proclaim April 12th through April 18th as 2026 as National Public Communications Week. In Cleveland, Texas, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. In witness whereof, I hereunder set my hand, cause the official seal of the City of Cleveland to be affixed. Jacqueline Cleveland, Deputy City Secretary, Danny Lee, Mayor. And I would like for you two to pass this on to your co-workers and tell them, just give the message and just tell them to watch YouTube and they'll get the message. So where y'all at? Thank y'all. Go get a picture with the chief.
I will say they are the silent heroes, and that's keeps us going.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay. Where is she at? Oh, okay. She's back there hiding. Miss Cleveland, I think I called your name about 3 times already, but I'm going to call it again. Get in the middle. Tell you what, before I read this, Jackie came on with us about a year or so ago, and she hit the ground running. She brings it every day, shows professionalism, treats everybody with kindness. Every day, she has that consistency in doing her job, and I just appreciate her professionalism and the way you bring positive energy to the city, and I just appreciate it. But the City of Cleveland Employee of the Month, March 2026, this certificate is proudly presented to Jacqueline Cleveland for your exceptional performance this month in appreciation for your loyalty and achieving company goals. Danny Lee, Mayor, Lee Tipton, City Manager. Once again, Jackie, thank you for all that you do for us, and just continue to bring that positive energy because we definitely need it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pam? Oh, wow. Okay, Ms. Pam, I got a little speech for you too. Thank you, Pam. You're another one. Every day that I see you, you're always positive. You always light up the room when you walk into it. You bring professionalism every day consistently, and we really appreciate it. And City of Cleveland, this certifies that Pam Cogbill has successfully completed 5 years of employment with the City of Cleveland and is therefore awarded the Certificate of Appreciation dated the 21st day of April. Danny Lee, Mayor, Lee Tipton, City Manager. Thank you, Pam, for all that you bring every day and continue to bring it. Okay, Miss Sheila Payne. Oh, okay. Right. Now, this is another one that you rarely see, but anytime that you call in to Public Works with a complaint, this is the nice, welcoming voice that you will connect with is Miss Sheila Payne. But Sheila, thank you for everything that you do for us, and we really appreciate you and the job that you continue to do for the city. City of Cleveland, this certifies that Sheila Payne has completed 5 years of employment with the City of Cleveland and is therefore awarded the Certificate of Appreciation dated this 21st day of April, 2026. Danny Lee, Mayor, Lee Tipton, City Manager. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you. More? Megan? Oh, okay. Oh, come on, Megan, 5 years. Okay. Now, I really don't have to say much with this young lady because, you know, what she do every day, I'm running away from the trouble, and she runs to the trouble. So, I mean, that speaks for itself. Megan, you know, we appreciate the job that you do. You come to work every day, and you don't know if you're going to go home. That takes courage. It takes intestinal fortitude. It takes heart. And we just really appreciate you for continuing your service here to serve this 5 years. But the City of Cleveland, this certifies that Megan Crowell has successfully completed 5 years of employment with the City of Cleveland and is therefore awarded this Certificate of Appreciation dated this 21st day of April. Danny Lee, Mayor, Lee Tipton, City Manager. Thank you again, Officer Crowell, and just continue to, you know, give it your best, continue to be safe, and serve the community, and I'm proud of you. Appreciate you. You wanna-
Thank you, sir.
All right. Megan, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Appreciate it. That's it. Now to the heavy stuff. Okay. Where we at? Okay, we'll now move on to public comments. Members of the public may address the city council regarding posted agenda items before or during the council's consideration of an item as permitted by the Texas Open Meetings Act. Members of the public may also address the city council on matters of the city business during the designated public comment period. The city council may not deliberate or take action on any matter not posted on the agenda except as authorized by Texas law. Individuals wishing to speak must be recognized by the presiding officer. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker unless otherwise authorized by the presiding officer pursuant to the adopted meeting rules and applicable law. Okay, first we have Ms. Isha Jones, 1110 Toledo Avenue, Cleveland. Ms. Isha.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? I went and picked up some stamps yesterday, and I was going to mail this thank you card, and I realized what today was. I was like, well, I'll just go there and personally say thank you. I want to thank the council for your in-kind donation for the Civic Center for our inaugural Dancing with the Stars. It was a tremendous event. It was the largest fundraiser that we've ever netted. I believe that everyone had a great time, And we really look forward to doing it next year and maybe having some of you all be some of the stars. As you all know, Mr. Roscoe was one of our stars this year, and we had a fabulous time. And again, I just want to personally just tell you all thank you. And if you want to read the card, you can have it. But again, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Isha. Okay, next we have Mr. Larry Elliott, 15 KW Villas Court, Kingwood, Texas.
Yes, sir. 15 Kingwood Villas Court in Kingwood.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Larry Elliott. I am a retired airline pilot, and I have a hangar at the Cleveland Airport. I'm also the president of the EAA chapter there. The EAA is the Experimental Aircraft Association. It's a worldwide organization that promotes aviation. The way we do that at the Cleveland Airport is through Young Eagle events. A Young Eagle is a kid between the ages of 8 and 17, and at a Young Eagle rally, we give those kids a free airplane ride. In the past, as we've been in business since 2024, the city has granted the pilots that fly those kids a 50-cent discount per gallon on the gas they use the day of the Young Eagle rally. They started out at 50 cents per gallon last year. The next year they dropped it to 25%. In November, our last event in 2025, the total rebate, which comes to the chapter, not the individuals, was $57. $57. Our next event was scheduled for March 21st, a month ago today. We flew that event. Prior to that event, I talked to Eric, the airport manager, about another rebate. That was early February. A couple of days back later, he got back to me and said it was denied. $57, it was denied. I went to I spoke to a couple of people in the city thereafter, the Eric supervisor, and through the city secretary, I got a message to the city manager asking for an explanation of why it was denied. I never received a response from either one of those individuals. On March 21st, we flew the Young Eagle event. We flew 66 kids with 12 pilots, 12 airplanes, 30 ground support people helping out, ensuring that the flights were done safely. And we probably had 200 people at the airport that day. I have heard many times from Eric how they're promoting the airport, but the city couldn't come up with $57 to support the Young Eagle event. I think that's disgraceful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other comments? Nobody else signed up? Okay, now we'll go to reports from members of council. Members of the public may address, okay. City council regarding posted agenda items before or during council's consideration of an item as permitted by the Texas Open Meetings Act. Members of the public may also address the city council on business during the designated comment period. The city council may not deliberate or take action on any matter posted on the agenda except as authorized by Texas law. Individuals must speak, be recognized by the presiding officer. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker unless otherwise is pursuant to rules and applicable by law. I'm going to start on to my right, your left. Mr. Buckley, you got any comment tonight?
No, just thank you to city staff, police, firefighters, everyone out there doing their work and working hard. Thank you for all y'all do, and Public Works also.
Okay, Mr. Warwick, do you have anything for this month?
Just want to kind of piggyback on Julius. Thank you, city staff. each department doing a great job within City Hall, those that are out. Each department's doing a great job, and I'm just glad to be a part of you all. And thank y'all for all your hard work and making this city grow, and as we sit here and watch it grow. So thank you very much for all your hard work and your labor.
Okay, Mr. Mac Waters?
Yeah, just a broken record. Appreciate everybody, staff, everybody here at City Hall, Public Works, police and fire, just everybody that keeps the wheels turning. Our city manager, thank you, Mr. Tipton. It's a blessing to be a part of people that truly have a passion for the city.
Okay, Ms. Rachel Hall?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to remind everyone watching and here that early voting began yesterday and continues until Sunday. I believe there is an opportunity to vote on Saturday or Sunday in regards to the local elections, both for our new position 6 that we will have, as well as our school board. So it's important to get out and to vote, to know your voting location and the times available. And then, of course, Election Day is in May. We also do have the Clean Up Cleveland event happening this weekend on Saturday, and there's still an opportunity for people to sign up, churches and school groups and other individuals to come out and to help clean up Cleveland and to make a difference. But 2 very important things about being involved in the community and getting out to vote. So just as a quick reminder, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hall. Ms. David? Okay. Okay, Mr. Tipton, did you have anything for this month? No, sir. Okay, well, I guess I'll sum it up. First of all, I'd like to take my hat off to our city manager. We've been going back and forth now for probably since the day he got here with TxDOT. And we had, I call it a major breakthrough. I'm sure if you've took the US 59 Business 105 exit right in front of McDonald's, you can see that they're resurfacing that, and that is, I've done cartwheels when I've seen them out there fixing it. And also another location, they're doing some work on Washington Avenue, right in front of the Sonic. They've done some work there. And last but not least, on FM 2025, right by the Quick Trip exit and Love's exit on the north side, thank God, TxDOT, thank you. I mean, that was desperately needed. And we just like to continue working with TxDOT. Lee, get my drift?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
We want to continue working with TxDOT because there are a lot of other areas, that we need some work done. And we're getting close to, getting kicked off on a lot of our work from the grants that we receive. I mean, we're fixing to get cranked up on that, and we're all excited about it. And we got a lot of good things going on in Cleveland. It's been a long time coming. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but every day we're working on it, every day. So, and to the staff, we're almost to another budget season. Just continue your hard work. I tell everybody all the time, a lot of times you might drop the ball or fumble the ball. We all do it, but, keep going and, keep working hard and keep grinding, and let's just, continue working as a team. And I just like the way that things are going at this point, and let's just keep working together, keep working safe, and, good things will continue to happen here in Cleveland. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. The items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine matters and will be approved by one motion of the City Council. A council member may request that any item be removed from the consent agenda separate from discussion and consideration. Okay, with that being said, if if you have any questions on the agenda. If not, could I get a motion and a second?
Make a motion, we approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. Mac Waters to approve the consent agenda. No other question or comment? All those in favor? Okay, motion will carry 5-0. Okay, now we'll move on to our regular agenda. Frontier Waste Solutions, overage fee for commercial businesses, John Atkinson and Sergio Lopez. Okay.
My name is Sergio Lopez, and I'm here representing Frontier Waste Services. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today about the issue directly impacting public health, safety, and quality of life in this community, how we manage overloaded waste containers. This is not just an operational concern, it is a community health issue. When containers are overloaded, waste spills out into surrounding areas. That creates unsanitary conditions, increases litter, and attracts rodents and insects. These are not minor inconveniences. They are conditions that can affect nearby residents, businesses, and overall image and safety of the city. We are proposing a $50 overage fee as a practical and necessary step to address this problem. This fee is not intended to be punitive. It is intended to create accountability and encourage proper use of waste services. When containers are used correctly, we see fewer service disruptions, cleaner properties, and safer conditions for both residents and service personnel. Without a policy like this in place, the burden of overloaded containers continues to fall on the community through increased debris, potential health risks, and inconsistent service. Implementing this overage fee will encourage responsible disposal practices, reduce unsanitary conditions and pest activity, support consistent, reliable service, help maintain the clean, safe environment that residents expect and deserve. Frontier Waste is committed to being a strong partner with the City of Cleveland. We are focused on protecting public health, meeting regulatory standards, and delivering dependable service to this community. We believe this is a reasonable, effective solution that supports those shared goals, and we respectfully ask for your consideration and support. Thank you.
So have y'all reached out to these businesses already also that have had the massive overloads that we see on the pictures?
Yes, we've been reaching out to them, and unfortunately, some are upsizing their service, but there's others that are neglecting the message.
I do have one question in regards to the service. You're saying they do have an option for, is it a larger dumpster or more frequent pickup? What are their options for it not to be overfilled?
So we have several options. We can provide a bigger container, provide more service frequency, and for those that are, getting waste from other residents or businesses, we do offer lock bars for the containers.
And on average, if they wanted to upsize to something larger or more frequent, about what cost is that for that business?
It would vary on the container size. I don't have the exact cost, but there is a cost associated to that.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any examples to provide or anything?
There was a presentation.
We got them in the packet. Make a motion, we approve the $50 charge if it's overfilled
Second.
to this extent.
I have a motion by Mr. Buckley. I have a second by Mr. Mac Waters. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Item number 6, approval of resolution granting 721 Foods LLC a variance from Section 10.7 of the Code of Ordinance to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages within 300 feet of a church, hospital, or school. Emilio.
Mayor, before we start, I'd like to abstain from any discussion or vote on this item as my integrity and character was questioned since my family member has a restaurant that had to get a variance prior.
Okay?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Emilio Lavario, Director of Community and Economic Development. Just as a reminder, this was a item that we had a public hearing on that was noticed for last month's meeting. We did open and conduct and close the public hearing. So the public hearing matter has been addressed already. So what's pending now is the actual consideration of the item as it was tabled at last month's meeting. And so if we can provide just some background just to refresh everybody on the item. So we're talking about a variance to the alcohol distancing requirement from churches specifically, as well as a hospital, within 300 feet of a proposed operator that is trying to obtain a alcohol permit. So subject property is at 101 South William Barnett Avenue. It is a corner lot, does also have frontage along East Houston Street, or SH 105, 321. So the requester is 721 Foods. Their representative, Terrence Levi, is here as well. So again, Section 107 of the city ordinance requires that in order to sell within 300 feet of a church of alcohol is prohibited, so that's why the variance is necessary. The variance is something that is allowed by TABC statute, and so that is something that is at y'all's discretion. They do propose to operate a full-service restaurant in conjunction with these alcohol sales, but the variance is required in the eyes of TABC. So they would be doing that with what they call a mixed beverage FB certificate, so food and beverage certificate, which would authorize that on-premise consumption. Next slide. So again, this is the subject property. Again, southeast corner of William Barnett and East Houston Street. You go to the next slide, that'll show all the properties that were notified. We went 1,000 feet, even though our standard notification procedure is 300 feet. If you go to the next slide, that shows the buffer around the properties of 300 feet. So obviously that pegs this subject property right in the midst of everything going on there. And then the next slide is the door-to-door. So that was a property line buffer in the previous slide. This is a door-to-door distancing exhibit. So again, within that 300 feet from the nearest entrance or exit, egress, ingress into those establishments to the front door of the proposed establishment. Next slide should be kind of just some land use context in terms of the existing zoning, some of the existing surrounding land uses as well. Predominantly non-residential, but although there is some residential to the south and southeast, southwest, when you get more closer towards Hanson Street. So with that, I think that is it on staff's presentation. Applicant is here and can address any specific questions, but the ball's kind of in y'all's court.
I have a question. I do see we have one letter here provided from the Cleveland Methodist Church. Did we get any feedback from the church right next door, the Cleveland Church of Christ?
Juanita can speak to this maybe, but from what I know, they were not going to provide a letter, but they were not going to provide any opposition either. So no letter of support, but no formal statement of opposition.
All right. And I believe last time there was a discussion or a question, so from memory and not, being a little bit ignorant of the process with restaurants, that this potentially would be a transferable liquor license. So did we ever figure anything out about whether or not it would be like full mixed beverages or just beer and wine if it were sold in that conversation that happened?
So the transferability was provided in the packet. We did email TABC, and they did provide a response to that. And so, Juanita, the exact outcome of that is that they would have to do a change in ownership, right? But the variance would apply, or they'd have to receive it?
Correct. There is the email that we did email TABC, and basically it's every application that is received gets reviewed. So if he was to move out, somebody else would have to apply. Their variance would not transfer over. It would be
Yes,
totally
so,
separate.
yes. If now, where I think there's some gray area is if somebody sold that exact business to another proprietor, but it's the same name, same business, same kind of equipment, same everything, but on paper, if there was an ownership change, I think that might be where there's gray area. But now, if they're changing the name, the concept, ownership is in it from one interest to another interest, that's where they would have to reapply.
Thank you for the information.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion on a second?
Well, since we did get the letter of confirmation and there wasn't an opposition from the neighboring church, I recommend approval for the resolution granting 721 Foods LLC a variance from section 10.7.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. McWaters. Do I hear a second?
And with the transferability.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay, motion dies. No second. Okay. Moving right along. Item number 7, direction to staff regarding potential amendments to the city's mobile food vendor ordinance, including consideration of expanding or modifying regulations to address stationary, seasonal, temporary, or other non-mobile food vendor operations. Emilio.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So what I distributed is a very preliminary rough draft of some potential text, new language that we could perhaps incorporate into our mobile food vendor section of the ordinance to address what staff has identified as some gaps in our ordinance between mobile food vendors and actual, full-time, food retail establishments. If you can go to the next slide. So again, this is preliminary. This will definitely need a lot more review and consideration and, of course, legal review from City Attorney's Office. But we just wanted to start the conversation and get some direction in terms of if there's appetite for expanding what we would see as adding a classification to this section of the ordinance, or maybe into zoning perhaps. There's been some legislation passed at the state level and it goes into effect this summer, but that's more on the health regulatory side and assessment of fees and conducting health permits for mobile food service establishments, for food trucks essentially. So that doesn't really cascade into our ability to regulate location and some of the other land use contexts for mobile food vendors and the related types of operations. So again, kind of that middle ground of food vendor versus brick and mortar restaurants. We don't have anything really addressing that on the books, and we do have obviously appetite from operators to kind of fill that gap, primarily with seasonal type of operations. So we'd like to create a pathway to, ideally, what we put in here is seasonal food establishment. That vernacular can change if we feel that there's a better way to classify that. That's just for discussion's sake what we decided to go with. But it would kind of help us balance, expanding economic opportunity for entrepreneurs, but also firming up our compatibility with our ordinance and getting compliance, something that staff can actually enforce out in the field. So I'll just kind of high level what this text would incorporate is, again, the classification, seasonal food permit, seasonal food establishment, establishing, requiring a permit and application to the city for that permit, written property owner authorization or lease required, which is not different from what we require from a food truck currently. Site plan approval, which is kind of a new nuance. We don't require that of food trucks prior to getting a permit or to operating. And then some locational and spacing criteria. This would be newer, but we don't want to see a proliferation of these types of uses, but I think we do want to try to find an avenue to allow them. So what we're looking at here is potentially a mile buffer from another either mobile food vendors or food truck, mobile food court, or another seasonal food service establishment. And this is kind of a carryover from our current food truck regulation, a 100-foot buffer from any existing restaurant. Again, so to kind of, demonstrate to our brick and mortar facilities that we do, appreciate their commitment and their substantial investments in actual, taxable property values. And that could be, that buffer could be reduced if the restaurant consents to that. Next slide. So again, some site and infrastructure kind of considerations. If you have a component of your seasonal food establishment that relies on mobile units, then those would need to be parked on some kind of all-weather surface, just not in the grass or some, crushed granite or in the mud or whatever. The requirement for an on-site dumpster and something to enclose that dumpster, so it's kind of help with aesthetics and kind of what Frontier's concerns are with the trash piling up. Connection to utilities could be something that we would explore and permit on, maybe some of those mobile food apparatuses if they're not relying on fixed kind of improvements to operate a seasonal food establishment with the proper city and permitting approvals on those utility connections. And then site improvements subject to kind of the permitting and the site plan process that was in the earlier slide. Right now, mobile food trucks are permitted from any furnitures or fixtures beyond just a trash can. So again, that's kind of a pain point in the current ordinance where we can't really, it's hard to enforce that. So without stifling kind of, again, entrepreneurship. So another component would be having ADA accessible bathrooms within 250 feet. That could be if you're operating a seasonal food establishment on a property, maybe that property already has restrooms, permanent restroom facilities that could be used, or maybe this seasonal food establishment needs to make those improvements. But we don't want to see portable sanitary facilities being used in lieu of actual restrooms. Those just present kind of environmental and enforcement kind of issues, and we can't really regularly guarantee their sanitation all the time. So that's why there's a preference from staff to require fixed restrooms, permanent restrooms, or access to those.
Just a question on that.
Yes, sir.
Just a question on that. So ADA compliant restrooms required within 200 feet. I guess it being a food truck, have we seen this modeled in other communities with language like this? I'm just
Primarily
curious.
in communities that allow like food truck parks, usually they require them to do an actual restroom in lieu of like a comfort station or like just porta potties. But again, that's more for a food truck park. If you're operating a fixed, a seasonal food service establishment, it's basically half the year is what you can operate up to. So I think you'd want to make that kind of investment if you're going to be operating for at least half the year. And I think from a community aesthetic standpoint, I think that's an important consideration. You don't want to see a sea of porta potties. Did that address your concern, Mr. Mayweather? Okay. Operational provisions, so noise, amplified sound, limiting that to pretty, standard tolerable hours, and then also, complying with our current noise ordinance and any, future amendments to that. I think we're looking at making some amendments in the summer to that, incorporating some actual decibel levels and other enforceable measures, making that more prescriptive. And then some of the mobile food stand, without being too repetitive and just copying and pasting what some of those existing good mobile food vendor standards should apply, we're going to say where applicable. So there's some things about if you generate liquid waste, well, that doesn't need to be dumped into the city's, storm sanitary sewer facilities, and it addresses some issues like that. So it's pretty prescriptive, and so I think maybe a reference and saying where applicable. Obviously, if they connected to city utilities, then that's a different issue. So that's a nuance maybe we'll have to work out with Tommy to see what language is going to be best to cover us there. And then lastly, fees. We'll definitely incorporate them in the schedule, but when it comes to setting them, an early recommendation is perhaps at least $500. And this figure comes from a place of, again, the improvements associated with a kind of seasonal food establishment, food service establishment, are not as substantial as a permanent, fixed brick and mortar restaurant. So, we kind of want to encourage and provide an avenue for people to do this. We also want to incorporate some guardrails and not encourage a proliferation of this kind of use across the city. So that's why the fee is at a minimum $500 in terms of our proposal. But that's kind of the high level of the red lines. Take time to review them. We'll bring them back for more discussion and consideration in the summer. Is there any questions at the current moment? I think there's some people here that are also following this, so they may want to speak on this topic as well, if the mayor will allow it.
I do have a question, just for clarification. Okay, so I'm looking at the packet you gave us, page 8 of 9, in the red text, the potential amended sections. Under section 30-176 with the location. The first thing, though I know, thank you for the explanation, the vocabulary used here is seasonal food establishment versus mobile food vendor. So a mobile food vendor is just a food truck, which we're familiar with, which we've had some concerns within the community, okay? So what are examples of a seasonal food establishment separate from food trucks?
So, without being too direct, our neighbors across the street, they have a great concept, they're very successful, but that would be a good example of what we're trying to address in terms of a seasonal food establishment. Because they're gonna operate more than 14 days, and their kind of setup is more robust to where it's not very conducive for them to comply with moving in every 12 hours, or 3 days, or whatever. So this is why this has kind of been crafted to assist with some of that enforcement, and also to kind of be good neighbors and, try to create something that is palatable, but also still in line with what we want to see in terms of community aesthetics and permitting and all that.
Okay, so other than the potential of the neighboring establishment, are there any other examples of seasonal food establishment, to that particular vocabulary word that you can think of, just generically?
Yeah, I don't think the implications will be broad for this.
Okay.
Right now, currently, yeah.
Okay.
I think even though it's temporary, kind of the footprint or infrastructure of what Reyes has going on would kind of fit this. So they would have to apply if that situation they were looking at was more permanent, if they're doing, going to be doing new construction. They've talked about that. So that could be another example.
Okay, so then my one specific question, and then I might look closer for the next time we get more information, is part B. where it says a seasonal food establishment shall not be located within 1 mile from any other seasonal food establishment, mobile food vendor, or mobile food court. We have a pretty small radius of a downtown, and 1 mile is actually a significant chunk of our town. You know, I just quickly Googled, like, from where we're sitting right here to our Walmart is 1.8 miles, and where we're sitting to the corner, Ace Hardware, who frequently does community events and sometimes invite local food trucks. I know our Texan Theater also has had food trucks on occasion, may or may not. We have new owners, but they're 0.7 miles from this location, where we're sitting right now. So my concern is a 1 mile radius, unless we're saying that either a seasonal food establishment cannot open or other mobile food vendors would not be able to open within a mile of them. I think that in the size of our town and our downtown streets, 1 mile is a larger area in consideration of some things that are already kind of ongoing whenever it includes mobile food vendors. Now, I understand the need for making sure they're permitted, like the food trucks and things, but when we have businesses inviting mobile vendors to their companies and giving them written permission within a mile, I think that's something that should be looked at closer.
Yeah, we can look at the distance. Like I said, this is all, we can all change the, amend this language. It's not permanent right now. Some of that is temporary outdoor sales, so it's like they can get a temporary permit to do that. Sometimes at an event by a nonprofit, they're exempt from the permitting in terms of mobile food vendors. So there's some exemptions. Some of this wouldn't necessarily apply to that situation. But yeah, that distancing requirement was meant to be not prohibitive, but just meant to be discourage a proliferation of a bunch of these seasonal food establishments. So we might want to, there's room to reduce that, but that's kind of where we wanted to start.
Okay, and for example, in section B there, it says shall not be located, and within section C, the next one say may not be located. And while I'm not a lawyer, I know there's a difference between the shall not and the may not. So when they can and when they have gray area and when they don't, if we can clarify when it's set in stone and when there's gray area in these as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
On your seasonal food establishment on the first page, is that if the trailer is parked there that they're cooking out of? Or is that just the property in general?
So on the first page, that's the definition. So it could be that they operate within a fixed, mobile, or semi-permanent location, or a combination
It says 14 consecutive days, so I could pull it off for day 13 and then come back 2 days later and set it back, correct?
Right, and that would probably be more in line with our current mobile food vendor establishment, mobile food vendors. Let me see.
So I could set up and tell you I'm a mobile food vendor.
So mobile food vendors are not allowed in the same location for more than 5 consecutive days, for a duration not exceeding 12 hours per location per day.
So that would stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that you had it, that part of it.
Yeah, this was quick language to throw together. It's borrowed from some other cities, so we could say, instead of 14 days, it could be 5 days, more than 5 days, but I think 14 days would be good. Any other questions, concerns? All right. Well, we'll coordinate with the city attorney and do some more work on this and bring it back with a bunch of other ordinance amendments that we've discussed previously.
Okay, thank you, Emilio.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8, authorization of city staff to apply for a grant to obtain a military truck and skid unit from Texas Forest Service. Chief Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. On occasion, the Texas Forestry Service receives surplus vehicles from the military that they're able to distribute to fire departments. if you meet the requirements, obviously. And they have some vehicles now. There's other times we've looked into it and it's more parts than it is actual vehicles or whatever. They actually have 3 or 4 working vehicles that we can apply for. We've had one in the past. As long ago as if we had it, it was actually like a 1970s model. That was a 2-speed rear end, and there was only about 3 of us that could drive it. So the guys were not sad when it broke and we could no longer fix it and it went away. This is one of the newer styles that you're probably used to seeing going up and down the road now. Those have automatic transmissions that work pretty much the same as our fire trucks and stuff do now. So to get the truck itself is you, like I said, you apply for it. It's essentially like a 0% grant type deal. They provide it to us and they put a sticker on there and they take a picture that we took delivery of it and what have you. And then there's a certain criteria for the skid unit, which is basically what makes a booster a firefighting unit. It's a pickup truck, and then you put the skid unit in there. That's a water tank and the pump and all that kind of stuff. That's actually can be removable so that we can use this truck for high water when it's raining, and when it's not, then we can put the skid unit in there and use it during wildland fire season. The company that actually made our booster, which I brought with us in case any of you wanted to see it, our new boosters here, they make those skid unit conversions, and we're working with them to get pricing on, because the one main thing is when you take these vehicles, like we did with the last one, is it can no longer appear as a military vehicle, although the aesthetics of it, the way it looks is a military vehicle, but it's not the tan or the green or whatever it was. You have to paint it to where it no longer appears to be a military vehicle driving them down the road, so they have to be painted. But then if we're going to use it for emergencies, we'll need to put lights and different stuff on it to make it used for emergencies. But if we're awarded the truck, then we would obviously come back before council to ask for pricing for that. Well, we're working on getting the pricing for that, but that will come back before funding for that at the time. This is just a request for us to be able to go out for the truck and see if we can actually get one while they have one on standby.
Quick question, did you say the grant is a not matching grant? It's 100% on the grant?
100% covered by the Texas Forestry Service.
For both the truck and the skid unit?
And the skid unit, again, is if you meet the requirements at the time when you put it, because they basically have that marked as like emergency funds for how dry it is and everything like that. And we did meet that, we were in that. Whether we're out of that yet or not with the rain that we've had, I don't really know. But we have been in that for quite some time, so we're going to, this came up right after our last meeting, so we were still in it then, so we're going to go ahead and put in for it. And like I said, in the information, if we don't meet that, then we'll get a price for the skid unit and see if we can put it in.
All right, I'll make a motion to authorize city staff to apply for the grant to obtain a military truck and skid unit from the Texas Forest Service.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, a second by Mr. Mike Waters. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 9, update on fiscal year 2025 audit presentation. Ms. Pam Harrison.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just an unofficial update just on the audit, just to let you guys know that we did meet the new deadline that was set in place by the SB 1851 that requires all cities file their audit with the city secretary no later than 180 days of the fiscal year end. We did meet that requirement. Now that it's a statewide requirement, the auditors were not able to present this month because they have several cities that they have to present for. I've already spoke with them. They'll be here in May. But I just wanted to give you guys an update in case y'all were aware of that new requirement and let y'all know we did meet the deadline and that we have already filed for our annual award with the GFOA. So they will be here next month to present.
Okay. Okay.
The next several ones are mine.
Okay, 10, okay. No questions on 9, okay. Well, you're gonna be here for a while, Pam. Okay. Okay, item 10, ordinance by City Council of the City, Texas, authorizing issuance and sale of the City of Cleveland, Texas combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation, taxable series 2026A, levying a tax providing for security and payment thereof, and enacting other provisions related thereto.
Okay, so we have with us today our bond counsel, Jonathan Frells, and our financial advisor, Joe Morrow. These next several items, I know we have to vote on them separately, but they are all tied to the Texas Water Development Board grant that we received. These are the matching funds that we have to provide for those, and Joe is going to go into more detail as to what the schedules look like and give more information and be able to answer any questions y'all may have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pamela. Mayor, members of council, Joe Morrow with Hilltop Securities and Jonathan Frells, your bond counsel from Bracewell. Tonight, we're here to move along our second loan from the Texas Water Development Board. As you recall, we submitted application for this almost a year ago. We were awarded. This is for a single project, but it comes in 3 financing pieces, which is why we have 3 agenda items, 10, 11, and 12. They're all related to the same project. So I'm going to hit all of them at once since they're so intertwined together. Just for starters, if you'll open and go about 2 pages in, you'll see a graph like this. This is the bond buyer index. It is what we use to track the direction of interest rates, very much like the Dow Jones Industrial Average is used to track direction, market direction of stocks. You can see we kind of went up. That was the jump there a little while back was tariffs. Then we came down, and then we've been kind of up and down here in the last since late February with everything going on in the Middle East. That index is currently showing a borrowing cost on 20-year debt of 4.72. If you'll flip the page, you can see the 3 items that we're going to cover tonight and what the Water Development Board will do for us. This is all related to project number 73989 as it was assigned by the board as our application came in. Your first item, number 10, is the combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation, taxable series 2026A. These are in an amount of $3,155,000, and there will be 0 interest rate attached to these. So all we will repay is that $3,155,000 in annual annual installments over 20 years. So that is item number 10. Item number 11 is combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2026B. These are a low interest rate loan. The Texas Water Development Board, as acting on behalf of communities across the state, gets grants from the EPA, and this is how the state of Texas has chosen to distribute those across the state. They offer loans at below market interest rates. So as you recall, we just saw that we were somewhere around 467. You'll borrow at 2.30. So that is a 20-year amortization schedule. And then finally, item number 12 is going to be what the board calls loan forgiveness. Essentially, this is just a grant, and it is in the amount of $10 million. So our total project is $16,080,000. $10 million of that is a grant, about $3.5 million, 0% interest rate, and then low interest rate on $2.9 million approximately. The debt service schedules are behind that you will be paying back. So you can see that we'll start in March of 2027 with the 0% interest loan, repaying $160,000 in principal that year. And then if you flip over a couple pages, you can see your annual debt service for the, for the low interest rate loan. You'll have two payments in the fiscal year, and that's going to be about $180,000 roughly a year over the next 20 years. So all in all, you've got a very nice result through the application to the Water Development Board. This is the second loan forgiveness amount that you received. The other was through the Rural Water Assistance Program. This is through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. I would recommend that you approve items 10, 11, 12. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have over the process that we have. After tonight, after you approve everything, Jonathan will be working those documents through the Attorney General and the State Comptroller's Office, and we'll be ready to close in about 30 days.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Yes, I just have one question. Thank you, sir. On number 11, the interest cost there that was presented, is that a fixed rate, or will that change over the 20-year installment?
Yes, that is a fixed rate.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion, we approve item number 10.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. McWaters. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Make a motion, we approve number 11.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. McWaters, a second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Item 12.
Make a motion that we approve item 12.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ward. I have a second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay. Thank you, council. Okay, item 13.
Are you gonna read?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I guess I'm so happy about 10, 11, and 12 that I kind of just went blank. Okay, thank you once again, council. I'm so happy about this. Okay, item 13, approval of Westwood Project Work Order Number 1 for project number R00517555-.03 under the Professional Services Master Agreement executed in October of 2024.
This item also relates to the previous agenda items. This is a work order for Westwood. They are our project engineers. And for each one of the grants that we receive from Texas Water Development Board, we have to have a relating project for this. So this is just a project work order like the exhibit that goes back to the Professional Services Master Agreement. So we will approve one last month for the rural water, and this one is for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. This is the one that ties back to that one.
I make a motion, we approve item 13.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 14, a resolution approving updates to the master fee schedule. Ms. Pam.
Okay, these are amendments to our existing master fee schedule as requested by staff. Though there are amendments, the amendments are highlighted in yellow and also written in red text. They are for the municipal park usage. to update the fees and to add the 70% discount for the local leagues, local youth leagues. It adds the concession stand, and those that have the strike-through formatting, those we want to remove. We had the practice on there, if you'll see, that was on there for $25 per field. We're just changing that to just be covered under field usage. We also implemented a hourly rate of $25. The existing rate, my apology, the existing hourly rate is $25 per field per hour. We're also asking that the tournaments be changed to just a daily rate of $250 per field per day. And then there is a discount for the 501c3 organizations of $50 per field per day. And we also removed the ice because we are putting in an ice machine. So we're removing the cost for the ice. And the concession will be $150. All these rates will have the 70% discount applied for the local leagues. And we also added a clause that the concession stand rental has to be tied to the day and time of your field rentals. That way, if I rent the fields in the morning for 4 hours, I can't have the concession all day and another league come in behind me. So concession rentals will be tied to field usage. The other rates we're requesting amendment on is in the back on the utilities, page 18 of the master fee schedule, or of this document. What I have is implementation of the non-potable water. As you know, we have the BNSF development coming along, and we've had a few inquiries for non-potable water. The rate that Public Works decided on would be the best rate to go with. We would do it on meter size 2-inch and 3-inch meters, and it's 50% of the current rate for the treated water. And then their rate per thousand over 2,000 would be $5.25 per thousand. The other item that's highlighted on there is the water theft fee. We always had the tampering with the meter fee for $400, but we did not have a water theft fee. We had an instance where someone connected to a fire hydrant and took water, but we did not have a fee in our schedule, so we wanted to go ahead and update that too. So if we're faced with that issue again, we have something in writing. And I would also like to add Frontier Waste. Their amendment was approved to their contract, so I'd like to add that to our schedule too. That's not highlighted on here, but because the $50 was approved, I'd like to amend this to improve that so we don't have to bring this back to you guys again next month.
I have one question.
Yes.
On the field usage deposit, it says $1,000 deposit. Does that, if I just want to use the field, it's still $1,000 deposit?
If you want to use just, yes, it's always been $1,000 deposit for the field usage. And I don't believe that receives a 70%. Ashley, is that correct? Yes, that's just the rate that's always been paid for the field usage.
I do have one question on the concession stand rentals, and again, with very limited, I'm ignorant in this, other than if it's for the time when you rented the field, like the morning only. I believe that a lot of people have to go in before that to like make their cheese hot or something like that. So how do they do setup of their food prep or bring in the things they're going to sell? Is there some sort of gap hour or two, or is it just like if they rented from 8 a.m. till noon, that's all that they get?
That's a good question. You allow early access?
So they wouldn't have early access, it would just be from the time that your concession, whatever time you're renting it for. So if you know that you need to be there at 8 o'clock in order to prepare, then that will be your prep time.
So like if they're on the field, if their first game is at 8 o'clock, and Julius might, like, you're coaching, right? So I assume, can they get in there at 6 a.m. and set things up, or they can't open the door until 8 o'clock?
Well, right now it's different because we're not on the fee schedule that we're currently on. This is gonna, once we get on that, because we just went ahead and approved it so they could get the season going for this year. So they get in early. But, Most of the time, when you have a tournament, if you're in the field for 4 hours, you're not, usually there's not gonna be another tournament right behind you with a whole different group of people. It's usually just that one person that's setting up, so usually when you rent it, it's gonna be just whoever rents it for that day or that weekend, however they do it.
Well, that's my only question, is I want to make sure that whoever is using it, that we provide that, like, a setup hour or something like that that's needed. There's always a prep time that's needed for any kind of event.
I think that'll come through the scheduling portion of that we'll just have to work with them. I mean, if they need in an hour or 30 minutes early to set up, I think we can make that happen. And I think if we run into a double tournament or double usage back-to-back, we can maybe work something in there where they get a 30-minute setup, tear down. I mean, that's the benefit of us having all our stuff in there, because they shouldn't have to bring a whole lot in and out, so it should make it quicker turnaround,
Just that cheese and chili.
but, yeah.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the master fee schedule changes, including the recently adopted $50 Frontier Waste fee.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, second by Mrs. Buckley, second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 15, presentation of local option alcohol election.
Good evening, council and mayor. So in September of 2025, Mr. Julius Buckley did file an application with me for a petition to gather signatures to get the measure on the ballot for local option liquor election. The petition was circulated. We submitted it in. We needed a total of 472 signatures to get the measure on the ballot. We only had a total of 314 valid signatures. So we lacked 158 signatures. So we will not be able to, it's not going to go on the ballot for this May election. I did notify TABC and the Secretary of State as I was required to do by law. And so that's it. So we were, if the community would want us to go back out, then we would revisit and see about doing it for next election next year.
Is there a time freeze before, like, I know it can't get on this ballot, but if we did it again in 27?
No, there's no time for it. We could do it for the next ballot. If it had made the measure and we didn't have enough, if it would have failed when it went to election, and then we would have to wait a 1-year waiting period. But since we did not make it to the ballot, we can go ahead and get the petition circulated again.
I know they had to verify signatures. Do we know how many signatures were on it originally?
Yes, we submitted, with only 314 were valid.
Were valid?
Were valid.
But we don't know how many were?
No, I didn't get that count. The 314 were valid.
Thank you.
And just a quick procedural recommendation on this. I'd recommend a motion to recognize the insufficient number of signatures and to take no action to call an election. Just to document it in the minutes, and then that the report from the county be included in the minutes.
Make a motion with what Tommy just said.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay, item 16, approval of revised August 20, 2024 minutes, grant administration services for TXCDV 25-0161. Roger.
Mayor, staff, council, Mayor, council, and staff. Back in 2024, we had a process where we actually evaluated a couple contractors that didn't meet the criteria, and it was brought to our attention. So even though it didn't affect the scoring, we have to get it corrected on our future funding for this project that we already been awarded for. So I'm just, in your package you have a statement that shows reason why and what we need to do. So we just need your approval to move forward with this. And this will be added to the minutes from previous year, and the revised scoring sheet will be added to this also, attached to the original documentation.
Roger, is the significant change what's highlighted there on page 212 where it says in all eligible activities per the application guidance? Is that?
Repeat.
On page 212 of what we have where it's highlighted for awarding the contract, it says midway through, it says, and all eligible activities per the application guidance. Is that what was needed, the language that was needed corrected?
Yes, everything was corrected. The issue was two of the bidders didn't meet the criteria for what was submitted. So they shouldn't have been scored.
Oh, I see.
Two bidders were ineligible
so
based off of some guideline.
That got deleted.
Yeah. And
But
they were,
that didn't affect the overall score, outcome of the bid process. It would just have to be corrected, like housekeeping.
I see. So they shouldn't have been part of it.
Correct. It should have been just the others instead of those two.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there are no other discussion, may I get a?
Make a motion, we approve for the revised August 20th, 2024 minutes.
Okay, I have a motion by
Second.
Mr. McWaters, a second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries, 5-0. Item 17, Texas Water Development Board Resolutions 0201, 0201A, 0201B, related to the Texas Water Development Board Water Supply and Infrastructure Grant Program, HB 500, and authorize the mayor to execute on behalf of the city. Mr. Meadows.
Mayor, council, thank you for having me tonight. Back in February, I came up presenting to y'all about House Bill 500, which was a 100% fully funded project that we were looking forward to applying for. It's a water supply or water infrastructure project. We went out and found us a grant administrator, which will be Westwood for this project, and then we will keep in-house engineering. Blau as our engineer for this project. So we're looking forward to the next steps to move forward to applying for this fully funded grant.
I make a motion, we approve item 17.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, a second by Mr. McWaters. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meadows. Okay, item 18, awarding RFQ for engineering services for the 2024 Disasters Community Development Block Grant, Disaster Recovery, CDBG-DR Local Communities Program, LCP, and Texas General Land Office. Mr. Brooks.
Mayor, council, and staff. We completed a competitive bid process for the project in accordance to the city procedure requirements. The bid packets received were reviewed and evaluated using the criteria established in the solicitation documents. Based on the completed evaluation and scoring, staff determined that the recommendation proposal provides the best value to the city. This recommendation is based on the overall scoring. Result includes proposal qualifications, experience, proposal approach, and the pricing are aligned in the bid review process. According to staff, the council we want to get council approval to move forward with GrantWorks as the administrator for this project? I'm sorry, engineering firm, Blodge Engineering, I apologize for this project.
I do want to make a note on that, that it has been, applications have been reviewed. We did not make the first round,
Correct.
but there will be a second round for this grant application, so we're just kind of ahead of the game by awarding
Yeah, we still have to go through the
The next
same
two.
process
but they will,
regardless.
yes.
Make motion, we approve 18.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, a second by Mr. Ward. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Item 19, awarding RFP for professional administration services for disaster recovery, local communities program, Texas General Land Office.
Mayor, council, same process, just professional administrative service for this project also, and we want to award Grant Works for this one.
Okay.
With your approval. And the
Make a
same
mo-
process states as far as, like Lee said, we wasn't selected for the first choice, but there is a second round for this event also.
Make a motion, we approve item 19.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, a second by Mr. Ward. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 20, consider approval of payment of tax increment funds to Cleveland Municipal Utility District, number 1, in accordance with the agreement and among the City of Cleveland, Texas Reinvestment Zone, number 2, Cleveland, Texas, and the Cleveland Municipal Utility District, number 1. Emilio.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is a kind of annual housekeeping item in terms of our contractual obligations under the agreements with Cleveland Mud One and TERS 2, which is concerning the Pinewood Trails development, in terms of their reimbursement for eligible public improvements for their infrastructure there under the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone program. So the attorneys for Mud One have presented us with their kind of annual statement and request for said refund, and staff has verified that information. To date, their project cost for eligible improvements are $21,610,115. And so what is eligible in terms of the fund balance for that fund, I thought it was in the financial impact statement there on your staff report, but it does not, it's not close to that amount. So I believe it's in the $300,000 range. So all that to say that staff has reviewed the request and finds that it meets the requirements for the facilitating the refund, or reimbursement rather.
Make a motion, we approve item 20.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hall, a second by Mr. Ward. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay, item 21, approval of the agreement for engineering services for the Texas Department of Agriculture Water Plant number 2 projects and authorizing the city manager to execute on behalf of the city. Ms. Harrison.
Hello, this is in, for the Texas Department of Agriculture grant that, the contract was awarded to Strand in February of '25, and this is the, actual grant agreement that we have to now approve. This is for the repairs to the water plant number 2, well number 8, that has the sulfur gas smell right now, so that's what this contract is for.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve number 21, approval of agreement.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Mac Waters. I have a second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 22, approval of Star Investment Pool as authorized investment. Ms. Harrison.
Okay, so last month we brought the investment policy to you guys to be revised because it was restricted to certain investments. This one is the resolution that's required for us to invest with Techstar. This is just going to allow us to have more diversity when compared to some of the current investments. Techstar does have a history of having a higher yield or slightly higher yield. So this just gives us a little bit of more diversity. We're not tied to opening the account, but this just gives us the option to open an account and invest with a new investor.
Make a motion that we approve item 22.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Ward, a second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Pam. And I also want to thank you again, and also Lee, for the work that y'all doing on these grants, because it's a lot of tedious work. You got to dot every I, cross every T, and I have observed you all, working together on this, and that's what it takes, a team effort. This is a very, important time for Cleveland and what we're doing here. And just keep up the good work. We appreciate it. It's much needed and greatly appreciated. So thank you once again.
Yes, and
Pam.
thank you, and I want to give credit where credit due. Jackie is my backbone in that. Miss Jackie stepped up. I was
Okay.
drowning in these grants, and she
Okay.
has stepped up. She organizes, she does all the signatures and everything. So she's not here, but I want to give credit because it's not just me.
Well,
She keeps me
hey.
in line on that.
Y'all keep going. Bring them on. Bring them on. We ain't turning nothing down.
Thank you.
We are very needy. Thank you, thank you. We will now convene into executive session. The City Council, City of Cleveland, Texas reserves the right to convene an executive session at any time during this meeting consistent with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to discuss any matter by law, including Section 551071, consultation with attorney, 551072, deliberation regarding real property, 551073, deliberation regarding prospective gift, 551074, personnel matters, 551076, deliberation regarding security devices or security audits, and Section 551087, economic development. Okay, item 23 will be 551071, consultation with attorney, hangar relocation and dedication agreement. We will now convene into executive session at 7:38. 7. No action taken. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Double motion, eh? Motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. Warwick. Let's go home.